Tommy,
What up,
we're
Mr.
here, man.
Paul?
We made it.
We did.
Yeah, hold up. I got to fix my lights here. There we go. Little victory purple. That's what I like to call that. Little Buffalo Bills post-game victory purple. Welcome to everybody on YouTube. Obviously, welcome Tommy. You may notice Tommy is here in place of Mario. Mario, Halloween, parent, happens. So Tommy is joining us from obviously his Twitter handle, Tommy Talks, and Tailgate Talk here on 7:30s on Fridays at hashtag Sports. So let's first off, can't say anything about a Bills victory without giving us a little Bills. Hey! Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Tommy. First half. My God.
Dude, I know about rust, but coaches had rust as well. Like Daboll was like I don't know what those play calls were.
Yeah.
I hate the shit. Listen, you know me. I've been on the fence with Daboll since day one. Ah, man, he showed his 2018 self again.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was like backtracking, but he corrected in the second half. I said he got to get Beasley going in the second half, and he sure did. Like that was the key. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. Beasley getting going was the second half spark that we needed. That huge third down plays, and that's really what I would say got the offense going in the whole. Josh obviously played way better in the second half, but that's because of Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley got open on, like I said, key third downs. Mm-hmm. And that was the difference in the game as far as offense goes. But man, a lot of problems we need to correct.
Yeah, so the first half was problematic, right? I'm not as concerned as I probably should be because I look at Miami and then I look at the next three opponents and I just say we saw some stuff that we're going to see over the next couple games that we probably won't see the rest of the season. Like those committed Josh Allen pull runs over the right side. Like that's not going to be a thing. Right. That's a temporary thing. You're seeing it, you're putting it on film now. You could put stuff on film for the next few opponents because really the Bills kind of have an easier road. Right. Not to say that, Jets put up a great game today. Not to say that the Jets are going to be a walk in the park. But I mean, in reality, the Jets record is the Jets record. And you're kind of anticipating the Bills stomping them into the turf.
Right.
So you're going to put stuff on tape that maybe you wouldn't normally put on tape against. Like, you're not going to miss these plays, when you're going against, Cleveland in the playoffs. You're not going to miss these plays when you're playing some of the other AFC opponents. So as much as it concerns me, I guess the biggest thing was, what was that, fourth, or was it 3rd and 9? It was 3rd and 9 in the first quarter. And they ran an Allen draw play. I was like, it's 3rd and 9. It's 3rd and 9. Like, what are we doing? What is this? Like, are we going to try and kick it from the opposing 40? Like, I don't understand. Like, you run a 3rd and 9 draw if you're in field goal range.
Right. That's what makes me scream as watching Daboll play calling. Like at times you want to go, man, like that's wow, like creative, and that's what I want to see. And then at other times you're like, what the fuck is he doing? I don't understand. Like, it's mind-boggling, some of the calls. And I gotta say, the first quarter especially was very generic, very like I could see what was going to happen. Like the defense certainly could see. And I got to say this real quick. The Dolphins, they probably played their best football today. They did. And we still won. I got to say they did. They really did. I thought altogether they played very well. They made some key mistakes, but that's what a 1-6 team does.
Yeah.
They make the fumbles like that. That's what 1-6 is, right? The Gesicki fumble, because take all that off the board. The field goal, let's say they make the field goal. Let's say they make a field goal or a touchdown before the half. We're down. The game could be totally different going to the second half. They have the ball. They have the momentum. So, but that's a 1-6 team. That goes to show you what bad teams do exactly. But they did come to play. I got to say, they played probably their best football, and we still beat them. So that's for anything.
And time of possession, Buffalo's kind of been dominating time of possession in a lot of the recent games. This was nearly a dead split, right? And Miami did look dangerous in the first half. You looked at the score and you said, man, this is a closer game than what the scoreboard says. They seem to be able to move the ball. Tua was making some, like the throw to Parker through Edmonds, through Milano, and in front of Hyde.
Crazy. Yeah.
But Tommy, that's a product. People say, oh, what a great throw that is. He was staring Devontae Parker down from the snap, and that's stuff that an unsuccessful NFL quarterback does, is he makes that throw. You don't make that throw. And then we saw Josh make some throws that kind of got me a little bit. There was a throw in the first half to Sanders. Sanders ran sort of like a little double move, and into zone coverage, that you got help over the top. Like, Josh had plenty of time to know that was zone. He was just convinced Sanders was going to beat it. And I love the faith, but the fact is that Zach Moss was standing 7 yards in front of him with literally not a body or soul within a mile of him. And that was the stuff that they were missing the first half. Like, a lot of that underneath stuff was there. It was there.
Yeah. And he executed in the third quarter with Beasley with the under. That's what I said when I did the halftime report with Joe. I said, because he asked, like, what do we need to do in the second half? Mm-hmm. I said, let's get Josh in a rhythm. Let's go to Beasley a little bit more. Let's start with 5-yard catches, 7-yard throws, 8-yard. Let's get in Josh in a rhythm. Get him on the rollout. I gotta say, the offensive line is concerning me. Josh getting thrown back every time. It seemed like Josh was always backpedaling. That's not good for a team that's ranked 28th. Like on defense, or 31st, or whatever they're ranked. They're like that doesn't go good for our offensive line. They have to. I don't know what we can do, because you're not gonna. We have who we have, right, at this point, but they got it. Something has to change before the playoffs.
Well,
we're gonna be out.
And Bill Basner brings up a great point. He says, love watching, referring to Josh, love watching him run through the crowd to get the first down. Makes me nervous, but fires up the team. Here's what gets me a little bit, right? If this is such a good football team, then why is Josh Allen the single driving force that wills you to victory, right? If these are the games that you have the opportunity to figure out how to make other parts of your game successful, yet it is still all on Josh. And I understand he's a quarterback, right? They throw the football an awful lot in Buffalo. But maybe you need to kind of revisit a little bit of player safety protocol here, because he's the biggest asset you have on this team, and you got to try and protect that. The last thing you need to do is lose him against the Jets, running a QB draw on 3rd and 9 in the first quarter. Like, I just keep going back to that. Like, it drives me nuts, because these are the games that, I understand that it was a very close game, right? In the first half, it was an incredibly close game. The second half, Buffalo really started to move the football. But the reality is, you got to be able to generate plays that aren't solely Allen the whole time. And that's where I feel we are.
Yeah. And it scares the hell out of me. I got to say, every time Allen runs, I swear to God, I'm looking at the football the whole time, because he's known to fumble. Like, because he's trying to do so much and get the extra yardage or two. I'm like looking for that ball to come out any second. and thank God he hasn't had the fumbling issues this year. I got to say, he's held the ball pretty well, but I still hate to see it, because bro, it's going to take a toll on you. You cannot continue Josh doing this through the seasons. Like just like Cam Newton. Listen, if we all take it back and look at Cam Newton's career, Cam Newton was a fucking stud. He ran, he bulldozed players. Like, he was super exciting, MVP. But as years go on, Cam Newton cannot do that. Like, it takes a toll on your body. And we have to dial that back through the seasons. You cannot keep relying on Josh to be our primary back. Like, it cannot continue.
Well,
it just can't.
And Tommy, just to backtrack on what you said regarding Cam Newton, let's just put all the cards on the table. Cam Newton was never, nor would ever be, the thrower that Josh Allen is.
No,
right.
No.
So
I'm talking about runner. I'm talking about.
I agree.
A running back / quarterback also with a big build. Like Cam
Mm-hmm.
Newton, 6'4", 6'5", whatever he is.
Yeah.
Same size as Josh. He's a bulldozer. He's not sliding. He's taking the hit straight on, just like Josh. Like today, Josh's plays, like he wasn't sliding. And I love it.
No.
You know, he's pushing people aside. He's making that. But, bro, there's only so much you could do that as your career goes.
Right.
It's going to take a toll on your body. That's all I'm saying. And
Caden,
Josh has been hurt through the seasons, by the way.
And Caden, I'm just going to let you know, Singletary slander in front of Tommy will not be tolerated.
No, will not. He actually, listen, and that's great. Thank you for bringing it. By the way, listen, he still is better in average per run than Moss. I know Moss was on the field longer, but I still think Singletary overall is a better running back. But Moss, I think they're starting to feel more comfortable in the passing game rather than Moss.
Well, you know, and we can complain all day long about the fact that, you know, Josh was yet again your leading rusher, 8 for 55 on the ground. But the fact of the matter remains that Singletary and Moss combined for 15 carries and 30, 20, sub 50 yards. You know, like, but I know Rick Rarick was at the game today and he had mentioned that the refs got a lot of heat from the fans, right? I understand, right? There were some calls that I definitely disagreed with. I did think that Tua was down on that one. It was close. It was close. I do think he was down. And obviously Buffalo lost because there was they had the opportunity to challenge a call early in the game, and then Tua ends up throwing for the first down the following play, moves the ball downfield like 20 yards the next play. So there were definitely opportunities for Buffalo to get in early, but it just seemed like they wanted to play things a little close to the vest. Great day for Beasley, 10 receptions, 110 yards, but on 13 targets. 13 targets.
Right.
But
that's okay. That's the kind of game it was. Like Miami wasn't giving the deep ball today. Like it wasn't happening. Right. Like there was a few plays Josh missed. But other than that, like today was the game. Like we needed to go, like, you know, slants, you know, give what the defense gives you, which is short yardage, which was fine because every short yardage play, we always got a decent amount yards after catch, right? Beasley was 3 or 4 yards before the first down. He made it happen. Like that's how we got our first downs today. So I don't mind that. Like if that's the way Josh needs to learn that. I think Josh's problem throughout his seasons is like he doesn't give what the defense like gives him, right? You got to start taking what the defense gives you. And today, second half, he did. And that's why we won. Let's be real.
So we got a couple great comments in from the chat. So here's where we're going to go with this. First off, Apex is on you. He said, "Hey Tommy, 3 for 4 in the red zone. And you're still not happy?"
No, I'm 3. We're going to talk red zone. 3 for 4. Yes, that against a shitty Dolphins defense. Sure, 3 for 4 is great, but the fact that we scored 3 points in the first half, not great, right?
Yeah, I get it. Next thing that was brought up that I think is great is Daniel Houston says Breida is nowhere to be found. Let's talk about that real quick, right? So I bring this up. You cannot tell me that the Bills are running the ball well enough to continue to carry Tywan Jones on their roster and not have another active back. Like you just can't. I will not accept the answer that, you know, having only 2 real backs active is acceptable. Like you're just not running the ball well enough. And I do believe that a lot of that is the offensive line. You've had a little bit of tango going on with the offensive line.
100%.
Yeah. But there's no way in this universe that you can look at this game after game after game and say, yeah, you know what? I'm really comfortable with where we are from a roster perspective and from, you know, from a scheme perspective or from a success, you know, perspective. Your running backs went 15 for sub 50 today. Like you need to get Josh a little bit of help there. And don't get me wrong, Moss was targeted 7 times today, right? I think that's career high in targets for Moss in the NFL. 7 targets for Moss. Great to see them finally using the backs in the pass game, right? They need to do it. They need to do it. But I mean, when Moss catches a ball, I don't mind Moss catching the ball on 3rd and 2 because if it's a little messy, you know, he'll probably break through. Yeah. But him catching the ball on 3rd and 7, nothing's going to happen there.
But let's be real though. Let's what if Breida's in there? Like, what can Breida do with that O line? Like what I saw in preseason with the same O line, Breida got like 1 yard average
Right.
per run. Like, there's no different. Like, I get it. Like, everyone's intrigued by his speed, but he's not. Listen. I'll be honest. I'd rather have Singletary. Singletary knows the offense. You have no. There has to be a reason why Breida's not playing. There has to be. There's no reason why. Like, we're doing that terrible in running. I'm just saying. Like, why isn't he in the game? Right. Like, there has to be something they see that he's not doing well or something. I mean, I don't know. I think I don't think Breida would make a big difference. I'll be honest with you. I just don't. I think the O line is what they are. It is the same O line as last season, and the same results. There's no difference.
Well, anytime that your drafted tackle who everybody was talking about converting to tight end during the offseason. Bills Mafia, I love you guys so much. But remember all the, Spencer Brown used to be a tight end. Okay. Dawson Knox used to be a quarterback. Right, so what? Right. So what, right? But I do think, and Eric says it, Eric Holloway says it best, guards are bad. Period. And that's a fact. Where the guard play is just subpar. There's a reason why when you look at how the market shook out, right? Buffalo decided the best guards were not the ones. It wasn't Butker, who's been on the team for 4 years at this point, right? And toiled away on the practice squad for a couple. He's not good enough to start at guard for you. Okay. So let's take our right tackle that we just signed, who had a banner year. And the best option for us is to play him at guard and to play our drafted tackle at right tackle. And then we're going to take Feliciano, who went out on the open market, really ended up near nowhere and came back to Buffalo. And we all looked at it and said, well, he signed a team-friendly deal. Well, interest is interest. Maybe there wasn't enough out there. But watching him, getting a downfield low block call, like that's just sloppy.
Yeah.
That's just sloppy. It's sloppy stuff. Like
nonsense.
You can't make those mistakes. And Feliciano just really hasn't been very good. And I know if Paul Berg were here, he would be telling us the reason Feliciano is playing like dog water is because he's playing next to Deion Dawkins. And perhaps that's a conversation to have. When was the last time the left tackle or left guard was something that you were like comfortable with? Is it a roster thing? Is Dawkins hard to play next to? Like, we're getting to a point where you got to actually start talking about, is it the guard play or is it the tackle play is so bad? But serviceable, and Allen just seems to make it happen. He just seems to make it happen. I don't know where to draw the line, Tommy. Like, it's an interesting discussion.
It's something that I think we failed to address last season. Like going into the offseason, I think bringing back the same O line. I don't know. I love Brandon Beane, but I don't know what their thinking was there. It's the same line. There's no difference. And matter of fact, Mongo, who came back last season after being injured, was not 100%, and he played better last season coming back not at 100% than he is this season at 100%. So it's like he took a step back. Darrell Williams let's be real, he's been a disappointment as far as this contract signing. Mongo is what he is. I mean, that Mongo is who he is. I think Mongo is a rotational player who's starting. And we got to address the center position of next season. We have a lot to address, except for Deion Dawkins. And Deion Dawkins is not 100%. Deion Dawkins is not 100%. Like that's facts. Everybody else can be replaced. I'll be honest with you. Everybody. And you might see that because I think Mitch Morse is probably going to retire after this season. And everybody else is Cody Ford is a disappointment as well. Just a heads up. I mean, he's not played well since we drafted him. Can't find his spot. I mean, Ike Bucker's playing instead of. I mean, it's just like I don't get it. And I am by myself. Hey guys. But the offensive line, I'll continue, has been a disaster for the last 2 or 3 seasons. And Paul will be back, you guys, as soon as he figures out what's going on with his internet. But I guess since I'm solo right now, let's talk Daboll play calling in the first half. Terrible. Very vanilla, very preseason football. Very disappointing. I honestly think Daboll is this year, as far as play calling, he took a step back as well. I really, truly believe that. I don't know what's going on. If he's trying to get a head coaching job, he's not doing a good job because the red zone is like 26th or 28th. Though we play better today in the red zone, it was against the 31st ranked defense, I believe. Can't do that. Can't do that. Got to play better. Can't score three. If you're only going to score 3 points in the first half versus ranked 31st defense, there's a problem. There's a problem. As far as Josh Allen goes, first time today I ever seen him get frustrated and mad on the sideline. And that goes to show you that, was he mad at himself, or was he mad at the play calling, or just mad at Hull? Like in general, everything was going on. Off. I don't know what's going on. And I'm
hey, bud.
And
what's up?
Paul's back.
Boy,
I was going to rant.
They even changed my name. Look, guys, it says my name's Joe.
How you doing?
Hold on, look at that. They even changed my name.
Joe.
Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? So while I honestly, the weird thing is that I thought you were gone. So I was giving the greatest commentary you've ever heard in your life, and absolutely nobody caught it. So let me bring you up to speed. Let's just turn that light down a little bit. Yeah, there we go.
Hey, look, technology, man. Technology.
I know, isn't that great? Bill's victory purple. There we go. I think I know we were talking about guard play. I know we were talking about tackle play. So So Bean has had this tendency in the past where I remember when he came in, they drafted Josh, and you looked at the wide receiver room and you said, you know what? We're just going to go with what we got because it's what we got. Now, last season, I was willing to kind of accept that because there was no off-season program, right?
Right.
So you were going to, incumbents meant a lot. You valued incumbent players far more than you valued newer players, right? Because there's no offseason. You kind of needed to get something that you could get off the ground fast. Whatever that was going to be, you need to be able to get it off the ground fast. We had plenty of time this year, right? Yeah. And they brought in a lot of players. And here we are, and we're kind of talking about the same thing again. And thank God Josh is as mobile as he is, right? Because I think Josh covers up, kind of average, maybe average tackle play, kind of subpar guard play, And the combination goes, is the guard play a product of, is Morris a strong communicator at center? Is that an issue? Are the tackles not great at communicating with the guards, right? There's a communication issue along the way, somewhere along the line, because this line has been together too long to look that bad against a below average NFL team. Miami Dolphins are a below average NFL team.
No, I mean, they're 31st for a reason. I believe 31st on defense. So
right,
they're like last against the pass, I believe, or 31st and 28th against the rush. I mean, they're overall a bad team.
Yeah.
On both sides of the ball. So there's really no excuse for the offensive line to struggle against a bad defense. And it just seemed like they were pushing us back all game. Mm-hmm. It seemed like they were in Josh's face the whole game. I saw probably the most swatted balls today out of any game I saw this season by Josh Allen. I mean, balls were getting swatted left and right. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why? Because the defensive tackles were so close. All they had to do was literally, the ball was hitting them on the shoulder. It wasn't even like their hand. They were that close. So that's why I was screaming for just Josh to get on the rollout, because being in the pocket was a disaster today. It was just getting pushed back. It was in his face. I mean, it was bad. And it's been getting bad week after week. I got to tell you that. Week after week, this offensive line is getting worse. It just is. Like, we have no answer. We try to put Spence Brown in there. Now he's hurt. Ike Bucker. We're sliding people all over. Like, there's just we're just grasping at straws at this point on the offensive lines. It's not good.
And at some point, you're at break glass for Ryan Bates, right? Like, at some point, Ryan Bates is going to have to play, right? He just for some reason, he just never seems to play. And it's, But Apex brings up a great point. He says, we will get everyone's best shot. Like, look at the teams that we play, and you kind of like teams that had Chiefs games circled on their schedule. They're erasing that because if they got Buffalo too, they're like, no. We got this.
Sure.
This is the shot. It's when you're on top of the mountain, like a lot of people are coming after you, and the Bills have a couple relatively easier games. Not to say anything negative about the other teams that are out there, but the reality is that they're just not great compared to the Bills, who seem to have things put far more together. And thank God for that Bills defense today.
Yeah. I mean, look at the Jets today. The guy White, I don't even know his damn name. I just know his last name. There's like Kurt Warner out there, right? Yeah. Kurt Warner out there. We got the next grocery bag guy is going to win a Super Bowl. I mean, like he looked like bro. They won. I didn't think that game would be close. Mm-hmm. Never heard of the guy. I figured they score 6 at most, 9 maybe. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy put up over 400 yards. I mean, like I'm just saying, like, listen, they come to play. They're going to play us. They're going to give us their best shot. What do they got to lose?
Right.
What the hell do they got to lose? Just like the Dolphins. They got nothing to lose. Just like Jacksonville, they're going to just throw everything out there. So we have to play. We have to play each game like it's our last. Like just play it. But man, like dude, if it's just going to show you that when it hits the playoff time, we can't play like this. We'll be out.
Yeah.
Like we'll be out, and we'll be here talking about this right now all over again about how bad the offensive line was. They got to fix it. Something has to be fixed. Something. And Apex, by the way, Mike, in our show Friday, brought up a great point. Is this something Bobby Johnson, maybe he's not doing his job as far as the OC coordinator? Maybe he's not getting these guys up to par. I mean, should they be playing a little bit better, or are they that bad? Are they that bad?
I'm so glad you did that, because I just highlighted while you're talking comment by Tommy Rhodes that said the exact same thing. At some point, you have to talk about OG Bobby Johnson and just make a determination. What are you going to do there? Right? Because I mean, you've had, again, continuity. That's the crazy thing about this Bills team that I think is so underrated across the entire NFL is the continuity on this team is incredible. Like they've had the same defense return for nearly 4 years, right? Like it's the same people coming back all the time. And that's great because again, there's continuity, there's trust, but you can trust yourself too much. Like Levi Wallace and Tremaine Edmonds got absolutely smashed in the face the first half of that football game. Every pass that you saw completed by the Miami Dolphins was against Tremaine Edmonds or was against Levi Wallace in that first half. And it was frightening because you go, these are the things that you're worried about. You're worried about in instances where, like on an option-based team, like let's talk about the Ravens for a moment. They run a lot of RPOs in Miami because they have to. Tua doesn't. He's not a great quarterback as far as arm strength goes. You got to get him on the move, and you got to simplify the field for him. You got to take half the field away. The best way to do that is run an RPO, right? It simplifies the read for him. But Tremaine just gets so caught up on that. It's so easy for teams to throw over top of him. And it's been happening for seasons now. And sometimes it's worse than others. But when you get to Baltimore's not going to be playing around with you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Tremaine's weird to me, man. Like there's plays I'm like, no other linebacker can make. Like I see a play, like today he ran after Gaskin, made a beautiful tackle, man. I mean, like he was on the other side of the field. And like a dude running that fast, that big, like there's not a lot of linebackers can do that. But then he makes a lot of plays that are like, like you should make that, dude.
Right. And then you saw him close on Gaskin. He took a terrible angle closing on Gaskin later in the game. The Gaskin ended up running for the first down.
Right. So it's like, I don't know what Tremaine, but he's also 23 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to go with that too. He's also 23. Super young. He's younger than some of our rookies. And let's be real. He's calling the plays. He leads the team in tackles for probably, I think, every season, right? That's been or close to it. So he's doing his job somewhat or most part. So I'm not mad at Tremaine. Like, honestly, I'm not even mad at the defense at whole, man. I still think we're a bend, don't break defense. and the defense is holding their own this year. Let's be real. It's the problem for any problem is offensive line and red zone. That's been the problem in my eye. It's not the defense. It's not the quarterback. It's not even the running backs. Offensive line and red zone. And that's why we're talking like we're talking now. Because if that's not the problem, we're winning this game today by 35 to same score, 35-11 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm just saying, like that. It's those are our problems right now. Those are our huge problems. And I saw somebody in the chat say trade for offensive line. It's easier said than done. Teams do not trade for a good offensive lineman. Very rare. It's super rare. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Like,
yeah, there's so much communication that has to happen across the front of the offensive line. Trading at this point for a guard, it's a rarity. It would be a very grizzled vet. And odds are a lot of times when teams trade for a position like that, like a middle linebacker, you don't see middle linebackers traded either, right? Middle linebackers, guards, centers. The entire reason that you might see someone come back is if they were on the team previously with the same regime and they're bringing them back.
Right.
That's really the only trade you're going to see.
That's it.
Spin brings up Edmonds is playing at a Pro Bowl level. Of course, it's not good enough for Bills fans. I understand what you're saying, but I will counter that with Edmonds gets very easily caught up against teams with very mobile quarterbacks, right? And if he's got a kryptonite, that's it, right? So yeah, is he playing at a Pro Bowl level? Well, he's a freak athlete, right? Like, he's an incredible athlete. But next year, he's also going to be $100 million linebacker. So you better decide quickly whether he's your $100 million linebacker or somebody else's. Because the reality is that's going to be what happens. And can you afford to pay $100 million to a guy that gets washed out on RPOs, right? Like, I know it's not the most popular opinion, but it's a conversation to have, like it's a conversation to have. Yeah. Apex does bring up also league guards play, the guard play across the league is so bad.
100%.
Yeah. And that's true. But, the reality of that situation, so is the tackle play. The tackle play coming out of college is just terrible. Like, terrible. You get really, 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 really bad offensive line play coming out of college nowadays. It's just because of the systems that they run, and it impacts the NFL. And that's why, you might see an offensive line coaching change next season, right? Because you just can't keep doing this. You
got to. And also, too, man, it's his responsibility to tell Bean or McDermott, listen, it's my second year with these guys. Like, this guy's not working out. Like, we got to address this. And maybe he's not. Maybe he's saying, no, I think we can work with these guys. Let's sign Darrell Williams. Let's re-sign this guy.
Right.
Let's bring back Mongo. Like, maybe it's on him too for not. Maybe the coaches believe that Johnson can actually get these guys to a better level, and it's not happening. So, I mean, at least not to date, right? Matter of fact, our 2017 offensive line, I felt, was better. I'm just saying, Richie Incognito, he played with a toughness, good run blocking. We had good Shady, got good yards on the run, much better pass blocking. And it just seems like the pass blocking was there last season, and I feel like this season it's diminished.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, because we last season we're like, oh, you know what? Fuck it. We're a passing team. Like, they're not good at run blocking. All right, fine. Let's just be a pass. Now it's like, what are we? Because they're not even pass blocking good. That's a problem.
Right.
There's your problem.
Well, 6 a.m. says it's ironic that most skill positions in football are a dime a dozen, but good O-linemen are probably more rare than good QBs. That's not far off, to be honest with you, right? It's really not. Shivas Gold said, what's the chance we get Teller back? There's just no way in the world you're going to get White Teller. The Cleveland Browns are not giving up. They're not giving up their starting guard.
They got lucky getting them. They're not letting them go.
Can I tell you how much fun it was to watch Ed Oliver in the first half of this football game today?
God.
Like, these are the games, but we saw Jordan Phillips do this too, where Jordan Phillips would just dominate 6 games a year. Just dominate 6 games a year. And what I saw in the first half from Ed, I was drooling over, right?
Yeah.
Because you saw him in the backfield on 70% of his snaps, right?
Yep.
And now mind you, right? These guys are often only playing 40 to 50% of the total snaps. They're only playing maybe 35 snaps a game. Like, they're not playing a lot. So they can really go hard when they're out there. But Vernon Butler versus Justin Zimmer, it's not a competition. Don't activate Butler again this season. I'm totally fine with never seeing the back of that jersey again. And Mario Addison over Boogie Basham, I'm ready to just walk away from as well. You know, like I'm ready to walk away from that too.
Yeah, no doubt. Ed Oliver today, great bringing up Jordan Phillips, by the way, because Jordan Phillips, he had that high energy like 6 games a year, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he brung it. Like, the crowd was hyped. Like, he got the defense going. Like, it just seemed like he brung it. And Ed Oliver today in that first half, my God, he was fast off the snap, like faster than I've seen in the last 2 or 3 games.
Yeah,
he was
on
bringing
fire.
it.
He was on fire.
Bro, right, like bulldozing this guy. Like, he was there, and that's what we all expected coming out of his rookie season. That's the Ed Oliver we all want. It's just being consistent, doing that. If we can get him doing that on a consistent level, awesome. Like, this guy's a beast. Sign him when his contract's up. It's just him being consistent.
We got asked how many more years does Jerry Hughes left out in his deal. So Jerry Hughes is on the last year of his deal. Yeah. So that's it.
I still love Jerry Hughes, man. I hope, I keep telling this to everybody, not a big deal, but I even for Jerry, obviously it goes for Jerry too. I would love for Jerry to sign a 1 more year, like a 1-year deal, and retire a Buffalo Bill. It's a 1-year deal, even if he's a rotational player. If Jerry's cool with that, and retire on like a vet contract, you know what I mean? It's a great way to end it, like Kyle Williams. Just end it out, great year, and that's it.
I don't think this is the final year for Jerry's NFL career. I don't think next year is either. The reality of what Jerry brings you is that you want him to get quarterbacks to step into the pressure, because Buffalo puts so many resources at defensive tackle, right? Yeah. Like, that's how this defense is successful. They want the quarterbacks to have to step up and step into the DTs. That's what they want. And that's why you spend a pick on Ed Oliver. That's why you retain a player like Star Lotulelei, although, my God, can the announcers just pronounce his name correctly? For the love of God. Lodalele. James Lofton said Lodalele today. But that's why retaining a player like Star was so important to them. It's not about pass rush from the DT. It's about that secondary rush where the quarterback makes that step forward and then he walks into the DTs. And that's how this defense is successful.
100%. 100%. I still feel like we're missing that sack guy. Like, Gregory's going to get there, but I still feel like we're like, I think it's going to take a year or two for Gregory to totally get to that elite pass rusher. But I still feel like we're missing that elite, sack guy. Like, I don't know if we're going to get anybody at 10. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the way we're playing, or just the personnel. I don't know, but it's frustrating. I know we're getting to the quarterback, but we can't ever seem to get to him, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like, finish the play. And it's a little frustrating, but it is what it is, man.
Bill Basner asked, how much did Rousseau play today? Snap counts won't be out till Tuesday, so we're not going to know the official snap numbers, but no defensive end has played more than 60% of snaps this season. So, there's been a couple that have played like 65, but it's rarely do you see any of the defensive ends play more than 60% of the snaps right now.
I don't think he plays 60. I saw him off the field a lot today.
Yeah.
If I were to guess, like, without the numbers, I'd say 35 to 40%. Yeah. He was actually off the field a lot more today than he was prior.
Well, and we talked about Rousseau at the beginning of the season. He had a big impact on the team. We talked about Epineza. He had a big impact, and now you're starting to see this plateau, right? Yep. So why is that plateau happening? It's not uncommon for rookies to come in and then be really, really impactful for the first 6-7 games and then just plateau the rest of the season. right? We see a lot in running backs where, a rookie running back will come in and have, 4 or 5 great games, and then just literally the rest of the season is they're averaging 3 yards a carry, and they get 70 yards a game, and they just plateau out. Defensive tackle, I really don't think is all that much different. And I'm a little surprised that Epinesa has kind of fallen off. We saw his snap counts go down a lot too. So I don't know what's up there because he was so effective at the beginning of the season, but the last 3 games, his snap counts have been in the toilet. So I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, didn't even play last week or 2 weeks ago,
which
was surprising. I thought that was a mistake, to be honest with you. I never really got to talk to you about that, but I thought sitting AJ 2 weeks ago, I felt like we could have played him. We needed him probably, especially in the later quarters, getting to Tannehill. Like we didn't really get Tannehill at all. Like I get you want to box the middle up, but it didn't. It obviously didn't help. It didn't. AJ would have been a much better than like a Brett Butler or like Harrison Phillips, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. That's 2 weeks ago. AJ's taken a step back the last 3 games for sure. Yep. I don't know what's going on there. Like that is interesting, actually.
So do you think Matt Milano feels bad for nearly murdering Myles Gaskin today?
Oh, Mike, what a fucking slammer, man. Dude, that was a hell of a hit, bro.
Laying the wood. Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. Dude, like, took his soul. I was really surprised to see Gaskin come back in that game.
And no flag, by the way. Because, sometimes those hits, referees love to throw the flag, right? Yeah. Even though it's a clean hit, because it's devastating hit, they'll throw it. Yeah. And, bro, I was looking for him, trust me, because that usually comes out, and thank God. But that was a clean hit. And I do got to say something on one play about the refs. And I normally don't complain about the refs. And I thought they did fine today, to be honest with you, except for a few calls. But the one major call was a 3rd down that the Dolphins had. And clearly it was a hand to the helmet. And the helmet went flying off. And they got the 1st down on a deep ball. That was ridiculous. And then, of course, the offsides by the Dolphins. But I thought the face mat, the hands to the face, I thought that was like blatantly like, dude, the helmet went flying off. Right. Like, what more do you want there? Like, that was a penalty, and they totally missed that.
It's so strange to me, right? Because it seems like maybe it's just a Buffalo thing, right? But it seems to me like there have been more hands to the face penalties than holding penalties in the last few games. It just seems to be more and more prevalent that seems to be the counter, right? Like it's okay for the guards and tackles to kind of hold a little bit. But as soon as those hands get a little north, it's like, those guards are leaning back and it's like, it's getting bad. Like Mongo had a hands to the, had one come back on him, hands to the face. Yep. And he was acting pretty good on that one. Like his head's all the way back. I was Jesus, Mongo, what are you doing?
Mongo also got the first low block of the season that I remember on our team.
Yep.
I said, oh man.
It's one of those games that I'm happy to walk away from, right? I'm very happy to walk away from that game and just never look back at it ever again. Ever again. Yeah, I'm so happy never to look back at that game again. So, real quick, do you think Buffalo is going to bring in some punters this week? Do you think you start auditioning punters?
It's so weird how I feel about Matt Hawk. He's an awful punter. Like, I mean, fucking terrible. Yeah. And honestly, he was bad last season. He shanked a punt versus us. Like, that's what he is.
Sure did.
He does this. Yep. But he holds the ball beautiful.
I'm so glad you brought that up. So I was battling with Mario over something, and I'm so glad you brought that up because when Mason Crosby missed 3 field goals in a game, and he had never missed 3 consecutive field goals in a game, who's his holder? Right. Marquez is his holder in Green Bay, right? So Marquez can put the ball. Marquez can hammer the ball, right? But he's a terrible holder. This is bad.
Right.
He's just not good at it.
I'll take the points over the shitty 35-yard punt.
Right. Right. But you know what's interesting about both of them, and Bean and McDermott have all these little things that they really love that are important to them, but not important to anybody else. Like Belichick, just as an example, if you did the 3-cone drill at like elite level, you were going to get Belichick was going to draft you. Like he'd put a little tent and a little lantern making s'mores by the 3-cone drill at the combine. And if you ran the 3-cone drill, great, you were going to get drafted by the Patriots, right? But Bean and McDermott are starting to show a propensity, and this is really stupid, for left-handed punters. Think about it, right? You're a left-handed punter, which means when you put the ball down to a right-handed kicker, you're doing it with your dominant hand, right? Most right-handed punters have to put a ball down, and they put the ball down with their non-dominant hand,
right,
to a right-handed kicker. Just saying, I'm not saying it's a thing, but I'm saying maybe it's a thing, right? Like maybe it's a thing.
I don't know. I just think Hawk is what he is. He's a below average punter and a above average holder.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, if that's what mattered the most, because they could have got Bojo back. It was almost the same contract. Very similar. Sure. Bringing Bojo, it was no difference. But clearly, they saw that.
I'll take Tyler Bass. I'll take Tyler because I'm convinced Tyler Bass does not make that from 57 if Bojo's the holder.
No, hell no. And look at his numbers. Look at Tyler Bass's numbers this season compared to last. It's not.
Versus the first 8 games last season. The first 8 games last season were nightmare fuel. He couldn't make a single. If it wasn't on the right hash, it wasn't going in.
Yeah. And we were all going, Tyler Bass, bad kicker, bad pick. And I kept telling everybody, did you see that the fucking laces were in? Did you see the ball was like down on the ground? Are you looking at the fucking ball? Like,
Tommy's got the game on DVR with a protractor on the screen to look at the angle of the hold. You're ridiculous.
Dude. Hey. And they were like best buddies. I remember they did like a whole video like, we're best buddies. They ain't best buddies no more.
All in all, this is a playoff team, right? Buffalo Bills are clearly a playoff team. They're going to win the AFC East. If you bet money on the Bills winning the AFC East at the beginning of the season, that looks like a pretty solid deal right now.
I said it. Yep. Patriots, though. Hey, I'm telling you right now, Patriots are heating up. They're playing very good ball. We better play. Listen, we still got to play the Patriots twice. Better get our shit together.
Right.
Because what are they? 3 games behind right now? I think we're 3 games at least. Couple bad games, man.
Well, I mean, they play the same cupcake schedule we do.
They do, but they beat the Chargers today in a game that I thought they would lose, and they handled their business with a rookie quarterback. I got to give them credit. My point is, we cannot play sloppy ball against a Bill Belichick.
Oh God, no!
I don't care who they have. Right?
Never.
So
never.
We better tighten up. Got to tighten up.
No, you can't do that. And Belichick knows what Buffalo does really well. Buffalo's made it a point to just still emphasize that we are a football team that will throw it down the field. That's it. We're going to throw it down the field, and they will fight kicking and screaming. Like today, it took them the score at halftime to realize, hey, maybe we shouldn't try and only attempt 35-yard passes today. Like maybe today is not the day for that. And I'm sure that came with checking a lot of pride on the offense. And Allen, once Beasley started to get rolled up, and once, whenever you see Moss with 7 targets, like that tells you something, right? Yeah. That tells you that they had to adjust the game plan. Whatever game plan they were walking into, clearly they had to adjust it, because I do not think they anticipated Cole Beasley being your primary target today. Especially
even Tommy Sweeney. Tommy Sweeney in the second half got a couple in the second half, mind you. Mm-hmm. And he was wide open. Like the Dolphins were giving that up the whole time. Like Tommy Sweeney was there if we would have just went to him a little earlier on. And plays like that open up the bigger passes.
Sure do.
And we weren't doing that. That's where it drives me nuts. Like Daboll, I'm talking about in-game adjustments. That's my number one thing on Daboll. I've said it since he came here. That is Daboll's downfall. Mm-hmm. In-game adjustments. Fuck halftime adjustments. I'm talking about in-game adjustments. When things aren't going right, help your quarterback out. And a lot of times he fails Josh Allen. And what you see on the field is Josh Allen doing it on himself, like making a play on his
making
own.
it up. Yeah,
making it up. Like, right. Can't have that. You got to play. Got to coach better than that.
It is a struggle. And you know, there's I do get a little umbrage with Beasley today, and the reason I take a little umbrage with Beasley today is because of that absolute nonsense throw into the end zone. And Buffalo's done a great job with keeping, like, every year they have a position player throw a touchdown pass, right? Like John Brown's done it. You know, Emmanuel Sanders is like, I think 2 for 3 with 2 touchdown passes in his career. Like Emmanuel Sanders could throw the football.
Singletary.
Yeah, we learned Jaquan Johnson was left-handed because he did it on a punt. I saw Jaquan Johnson last year take a punt. You know, he takes the fake punt and he threw it. I was like, is he fucking left-handed? Yeah. Like, who knew? Like, I didn't know Jaquan Johnson was left-handed, right? But it's plays like that. In that juncture of the game, it was on first down, right? So you put it on film.
Yeah.
You know, you put it on film and say, hey, listen, we've got this in the bag. And you do it now. Okay, fine, right? Was it a great play? No, it wasn't a great play. Like, it didn't look like anything Buffalo runs, right? Like the motion from Beasley, like Buffalo doesn't do a lot of pre-snap motion. And I think if they're going to really take themselves a bit more seriously and trying to keep teams guessing over the course of the next few weeks, you got to add more pre-snap motion, right? Right now it is set, snap, go. You know, and
you know what else I haven't seen? Sorry to cut you off. You know what else has kind of went away from the Daboll playbook a little bit? The Isaiah McKenzie jet sweeps.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. Haven't seen them at all.
And they're there sometimes. Like like when they fake them, like I see him there. Like, why not? Like, I don't understand. Like, the things that worked for him last season, he took totally off the books. I don't get it. And he took that off the book in the playoffs, by the way. But speaking of that, Cole Beasley, by the way, that pass was beautiful. It just was in double coverage. But
well, yeah, I mean,
there was a guy though wide open. I don't remember. Who he was.
No, it was touchdown Jesus. I think was wide open on that play.
All you had to do was go to him, and that's a touchdown.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. You know, he's not a quarterback. You know what I mean? No. But he should have threw that. He should have still saw there was double coverage.
Yeah.
And threw it away. You know, like, live for another play. But
I'm not a bright man, but I know what double coverage looks like. Because
right.
he looked at. I think it was Kumaro. I think Kumaro was the wide receiver you're thinking of in the end zone.
Yeah.
And he looks at him and then says, "Nope, I'm going to throw it. I'm going to make my money today. I'm going to make my money today."
God.
Yeah. So first off, thanks everybody for joining us. If you haven't ever seen us, this is Tommy. I'm Paul. Tommy is from our Tailgate Talk Show, Friday 7:30s. He's got his own YouTube channel and Twitter handle. So we thank Tommy for joining us. Mario can't be here tonight, so it's just Tommy and I. So looking down the road, right? I know this defense came up with some turnovers today. It seems like Buffalo has been fortunate in the way of turnovers, right? This season, Bills have been able to generate turnovers. It seems to be at pretty opportune times. Like, you kept Miami off the board because you were able to generate a turnover. Like, it seems opportune, but at some point, do you worry about that drying up a little bit?
I don't.
Okay.
By the way, I got to say, Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, probably the most underrated safety duo in the NFL.
Oh, without doubt.
They are the best. Jordan Poyer, so disrespected, by the way. Guy makes play after play. Micah Hyde is he's just, you can count on him. Like, like he doesn't make many bad plays. Like, those guys in the backfield, they're disciplined. Like, very, very disciplined.
Yep.
You do not see them make, like, bonehead mistakes.
Right.
Love them. Trey White, God, man, Trey White is a dog. I love Trey White. Awesome fucking pick. Bro, I think our defense, like you said earlier in the show, they've been together for quite a bit. That's kind of unheard of. And I think that the turnovers are showing why. They're all on the same page. Everybody's on the same page. And Leslie Frazier is probably one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL. He's going to get a job, by the way. next season for sure. If he doesn't, that's shame on whoever, because there's a lot of bad coaches out there.
Mario and I cut an episode that aired yesterday. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. It's Daboll versus Frazier. And one of the things that we talk about is, if Daboll's offered a job, will Leslie go? Because think about it, right? What ends up happening is when you have a coordinator go and they take a head coaching job, they really do take a bunch of the staff with them, right? A lot of that support staff. Imagine a situation where Daboll and Frazier both go. What staff are you going to have left, right? And Daboll and McDermott, I don't think there's as much loyalty there as there is between McDermott and Frazier. Frazier's going to be a head coach candidate regardless, no matter what, right? Yep. So if Daboll leaves first, I don't think Frazier goes. I think he's got too much respect for McDermott.
I think he does, because he was big time disappointed. I think he actually came out and said that he was disappointed he didn't get any opportunity to get a job as a head coach this season. Remember, right. I don't know if you saw that interview, but
I do.
So if he said that means he was kind of got to feel like, he was disappointed that he didn't get an opportunity. So why would he not, pass that? I'm just saying, because I could be wrong. I don't know the guy. I don't know.
Tommy, I think if you look at the window, right? Daboll admitted he wasn't taking a job that wasn't the Chargers job.
Yeah, right.
So, he's looking at it as like, well, this was my shot, because if we're going to be in the same boat next year, now I feel obligated to stay. If you guys haven't seen the episode, it's a good episode, so you should go check it out over on #Sports Main channel. Jonathan Wyman brings up Bills 13 turnovers. And I do want to get to Sunny Lamont with her super chat. Hello from Alaska. Good win. Really missed Dawson Knox. Credit our defense for keeping the fish to only 11. Dawson Knox. Tommy Sweeney and Dawson Knox are not comparable, right? It's not. It's just not. It's not comparable, right? No, and people bitch about Dawson Knox for days and years and weeks and probably until eternity. But the truth is, Dawson Knox is a dangerous weapon when teams forget about him.
Yep.
Right. And that's what Buffalo is doing, is they're saying, listen, we want you to be in man coverage, right? Come at Josh, because our offensive line isn't great, right? So go ahead, come at Josh, right? Go ahead, leave these guys in man coverage, and we'll win every football game, right?
Right.
So if the offensive line blocked better, just to ask, right? If the offensive line blocked better, everybody knows you can't run the ball anyway. Like Buffalo's just not running the football. So, if the offensive line blocked better, would that be a detriment to your overall record? I say that because teams know that they can get at us now, right? And they can put a lot of pressure on us.
The word is out. The word is out.
Right. The word is out. Right. So what does that overall do for this team if the offense, like everybody thinks the offensive line playing at a higher level would, completely change the focus of this team? I think if your offensive line's playing better, Josh is throwing a little bit less. That means you're probably scoring a little bit less.
Maybe so. We're running the ball more, less attempts on Josh.
Yeah.
But to bring up the Dawson Knox thing, by the way, night and day on Tommy Sweeney, athletic wise. Dawson Knox, and that's why they were so high on him. Listen, it wasn't like he was awesome in college. He's a guy that had a high ceiling. They saw potential as far as athletic goes. And not only that, his connection with Josh Allen, they're just on the same page. Sure. Josh knows where Dawson's going to be. Josh doesn't really know where Tommy's going to be. Tommy hasn't really played that much, right? It's only really been practice, So, and Tommy, you can see he's a lot slower.
He's not a good run blocker at all.
Yeah, not a good. So, but he's a serviceable tight end as far as like rotation. You need a backup guy to come in. That's fine. I honestly, Jacob Hollister though would have been better, but it's all good.
Well, that ship has sailed, Tommy. That ship has sailed. So I want to close tonight with sort of one final topic, right? So, oh, God, what's the best way for me to phrase this? Okay, so Tampa Bay had Jameis Winston, right? Everybody knows famous Jameis, 30 interceptions, 30 touchdowns, 5,000 yards, right? And he thought he was, he thought he had one of the greatest years in NFL history. They bring in Tom Brady, right? Ultimately, they gave up the football, 20 times less under Tom Brady? And everybody was shocked by the fact that they won a lot of games and ultimately won the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
Keeping the ball is just as important as generating turnovers with your defense. Now, Buffalo has been pretty fortunate with turnovers on the offensive side, right? Buffalo's been very fortunate with generating turnovers on the defensive side. And I think one of the reasons that you see Buffalo really not in a lot of close games on the scoreboard is because those turnovers really, from a defensive side, they're game changing, right? Anytime your defense can take the football away, 100%. It's totally game changing. That plus 13 ratio is not going to be plus 26 in 8 weeks. Like it's not going to be, right? This defense can't keep playing at that level as far as generating the turnovers. And the fumble machine is definitely alive and well in Buffalo. And we didn't see the fumble monster rear its ugly head, but it's going to happen. Because there was a point where Moss, Singletary, and Allen were good for a fumble a game the first 6 weeks of this season.
Let's dial in Isaiah McKenzie on a almost potentially game changing.
But that's McKenzie. That wasn't a rarity for him either. That's why they cut him from the Broncos. It wasn't weird for McKenzie to fumble the football. That's why he wasn't on the Broncos anymore. It's
scary, bro. I almost forgot about that. So you mentioned fumbles. I'm like, that was such a huge part of the game. Marquez Stevenson. I'm very curious now that
they got to do something with him, Tommy.
Yeah, I was calling him when he got drafted. Give him a chance on these kind of games that are coming up that are winnable games. Jaguars, Jets. I would like to see him. Let him in there. Return a couple punts or kick returns. I'm just, why not? It can't hurt. What I mean?
It's the roster game, Tommy. It's the roster.
I know that. But you got Vernon Butler in there, who's. I'm just saying, you could scratch Vernon Butler. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple guys you could scratch. Let's be real. I'm just saying, if you're going to put him in there, even Jake Kummerow. I know he's a special teams guy, but he hasn't really done anything on offense. And I know everybody was high on Jake Kummerow, and I said it from the beginning of the season. It's kind of like he was the new what's his name from last season?
Duke Williams.
Duke Williams. He was the new Duke Williams. He was the new. He was the new practice Duke Williams, right? Everybody heard, but they didn't see.
Yeah. So just to be clear on Stevenson, right? So he's still listed on IR. Now there's going to come a point where he's going to get medically cleared, right? Yep. And when he's medically cleared, then the Bills have 21 days to decide what they're going to do with him. Now, if they activate him off IR and he rejoins practice, that means they're going to have to cut somebody on the current roster. Or they could cut Stevenson and hope nobody picks him up. And then if nobody picks him up through waivers, then they could place him on the practice squad, and then they could activate him for games through the practice squad like they do with other players right now. So the Bills are sort of in a weird spot with him because there's not really a wide receiver spot available that isn't Jake Kummerow's spot currently. Right. If it's a wide receiver that you're going to lose, it'd be McKenzie. And I don't think Buffalo is willing to do that. McKenzie has had some nice returns. One little issue there, but truth is McKenzie's been playing really well, but he's contributing nothing on offense. So it's not like there's big shoes to fill for Stevenson there, right? McKenzie is not contributing on offense in any way.
I like the comment there. Touchback Kummerow.
Touchback Kummerow. That's funny. That's funny. I love it. But specifically with Stevenson, the potential I find to be intriguing. I don't think Buffalo's in any rush to get him medically cleared at all. The trade deadline is coming up, and I don't think kick returner is something that's in the game for them.
No, it's not. I understand that's not that serious, but it's still. I would like to see what Marquez can bring. Mm-hmm. Even on offense, as far as a little gadget play here and there, because he's lightning fast, bro. He's lightning fast, but I don't know if, like you said, maybe they're not willing to do it with him this season. Maybe they're going to keep him on IR and see what he can do next season and see what's going on with McKenzie. Maybe McKenzie's not back next season.
Yeah. Well, he's only on a 1-year deal anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
yeah,
maybe they don't even have him return.
Right. Well, and if McKenzie was going to leave, last season was it, because he had a career high in touchdowns. And honestly, his snap counts because everybody said, oh, McKenzie's playing so great. McKenzie played 25% less snaps last season and was healthy just as much. Like it's the Dawson Knox syndrome, right? Where McKenzie's opportunities were less, far more effective. Just far more effective. It's the same thing we're seeing with Dawson Knox this year. His overall targets are down, far more effective. Like it's not even comparable. It's not comparable.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
So
and Diggs, by the way, I got to say real quick, Diggs is having a weird season.
It's fine. It's
a little weird season, but I think that's okay because we're going in the second half of the season. I think Diggs is going to get there, and I think Josh is going to get there. It's just about really the offensive line. But once he gets going, we're going to be even more dangerous as far as offense goes. Because Diggs right now they're not having that connect. It's a weird thing going on right now with them. Like, I don't know what's going on. I think because Allen's trying to find Emmanuel a little bit more. Like, maybe they're trying to get on the same page as far as connection goes. Maybe. I don't know. But but I do like that Josh is giving everybody a little bit involved more. Like, he's not just strictly going to Diggs. And Diggs is cool with that. But I think Diggs will get going in the second half. You're going to see more in this, I think, in the second half of the season of Diggs getting going.
I mean, Tommy, I think the Bills could do some shortcut ways to get Diggs more involved, like we saw Miami do with Parker. Like, Parker's not a slot receiver.
Yeah.
But where was he?
He was on in the first half. He was on the first half, but we shut him out in the second half. I got to say.
Right, but what I'm saying is that, like, they want Devontae Parker to be an integral part of the offense. They moved him to a part of the field that made him a more integral part of the offense,
That's true.
And Diggs is just always on the outside. And I think it definitely stand to get more creative with him. He's a playmaker. We finally saw a wide receiver screen to Diggs. I can't tell you the last time I saw that.
That was driving me nuts tonight.
Well, listen,
I'm just saying that
if there's going to be stuff that you're going to punt, like if you're going to punt those plays 3 games from now and never run them again, I don't think there's anybody in the world who's going to be mad at that. There were a lot of screens today, and if you don't run them anymore, 3 games from now, nobody's going to care.
Yeah, and the running back on the 5 receiver set drives me crazy.
I know.
That's the other thing. I got to say that. I know.
That's a Daboll special. That's a Daboll special. I
am never. If you're going with 5 receiver set, why the fuck would you have a 5'8" guy go on the? It mind boggles me because that's the play. It wasn't an audible.
Especially when you have 6 receivers active for the game and like you're only I get it. I get it.
I don't get it. Like it drives me bonkers, man.
Yeah, totally true. Totally true. Well, Tommy, thank you for joining me on the post game. Very much appreciated. I'll get over on your channel soon. Tell everybody where they can find you, my friend.
Yeah. Mafia Sports Report on YouTube. I do a show on Saturdays at 7:35, and I do also a Monday post game show at 6:35.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for joining me. Obviously, you guys can find us here, #sports. Thank you to Mr. Rogers Homes, #1 real estate agent in Arizona. If you're looking to relocate, maybe buy some income property, give Sean a call. All his information is down in the description. Hey, go Bills, man. It was a dangerous one for a little bit. It's scary. I'm totally happy to just scroll by this box score for the rest of my life. I'm so happy to just move past this one. All right, guys. Have a great night. Thank you again for joining us over here at #sports, and we will talk to you soon.